So the next topic is compare ancient and modern organisms. Okay, so this topic basically explains how the environment was different for ancient creatures compared to how it is for us today. Okay, so the key differences between modern and ancient organisms can be summarized as follows. Okay, the first one is atmospheric composition. Okay, during the early Earth, the atmosphere had much higher level of carbon dioxide and lower level of oxygen compared to the modern atmosphere. This influenced the types of organisms that could thrive, favoring those capable of anaerobic respiration. Okay. You know, long ago, the air had a lot of carbon dioxide and very little oxygen. Many ancient creatures did not even need oxygen to breathe. So, today, we have plenty of oxygen, which allows large animals and humans to live and grow. Okay? So, the next one is climate and temperature. Okay. The early Earth had a hotter, more stable climate overall with less temperature variation. Modern organisms have adapted to a wider range of climatic conditions, including dramatic seasonal shifts. So, the in past the earth was much hotter and the temperature stayed mostly the same all the time. It was very stable warm world. Okay, but in present today our world has big changes. We have seasons like summers and winters and places that are very cold like the arctic or very hot like deserts. Okay. So the next one is organism size and complexity. Okay. On average, modern organisms are larger and more structurally and behaviorally complex compared to their ancient counterpart. Okay. And this is a result of the evolution of multicellularity and the development of specialized tissue and organ system. Okay. Most ancient life was very small and simple, like single tiny cells. They did not have complicated organs like hearts, lungs, or brains. Modern animals and plants are much larger and more complex. We have specialized parts like tissues and organs that helps us do many different things. Okay? So the next one is evolutionary adaptations. Okay, modern organisms have evolved a wide range of adaptations to survive in diverse environments, from extreme temperature to high pressure deep sea habitats. Ancient organisms were more limited in their adaptation due to the simpler environmental conditions of the early Earth. Okay, in past, because the earth was mostly the same everywhere, like hot and stable, ancient creatures only needed a few ways to survive. But in present, modern animals have developed amazing superpowers. You can say adaptation to live in crazy places. Some can live in the freezing arctic, others in the deep dark ocean, and some in burning deserts. Okay. So, overall, the progression from ancient to modern organisms reflect the changing physically, chemically, and ecological conditions of the Earth over geological timescales, which have driven the evolution of increasingly complex and diverse life forms. Okay? So we can say that over millions of years, the earth changed physically and chemically. To keep up life had to change too. This journey from the past to today's show a move from simple and small to complex and diverse. Okay? Okay, the next one is how do rock layers form? Okay. Fine sand, clay, or other materials carried by moving water and deposited at the bottom of a body of water like the ocean. Okay. So, moving water in rivers and oceans carries tiny bits of sand, clay, and mud. Okay. And when the water slows down, these bits sink to the bottom and settle in a flat layer. So this process is basically you can say sedimentation. Okay. So sedimentary rocks are made when sand and mud gets laid down in layers. Okay. Over many years, more and more layers of sand and mud settles on top of the first one. This creates a stack of layers called strata. Okay? So, over time, these layers are squashed under more and more layers. You know, the layers on top are very heavy. They press down on the bottom layer so hard that they squeeze all the water out. This makes the layers tight and packed together. Okay? Okay, the next one is eventually the layers turn into rock. Finally, tiny minerals like salt crystals act like natural glue. They stick the bits of sand and mud together so tightly that the whole thing turns into solid sedimentary rock. Okay? Okay. Interpret evidence from fossils in rock layers. Okay. This topic basically describes that how scientists use rock layers to read the Earth's history. Okay? So, scientists use the pattern of manual succession to interpret fossils in rock layers, relying on the principles of superposition, original horizontally, and cross cutting relationships to determine their age and sequence. Okay, so think of rock layers like a stack of newspaper. The oldest newspaper is at the bottom and the newest one is at the top. This is how scientists tell which fossils are older. And you know, superposition. This is just a fancy word, meaning the bottom layer is the oldest. And manual succession. This means that fossils always follow a certain order. We will never find a human fossil in the same layer as a dinosaur. Okay? Okay, look at this diagram. Okay, this one. Look at the bottom layer, this one. We see leaves and footprints. These are the things you find on land. And look at the middle layer, this one. We see a frog-like creature. These usually live near water and land. Okay, and see this top layer? We see a shell and a fish skeleton. These are the things you find in the ocean. Okay, so let's do this activity. What do the fossil reveal about the environment in the region over time? The first option is it changed from aquatic to land. The second one is it changed from land to aquatic. Or the third one is it was consistently aquatic. Yes, option B is correct. It changed from land to aquatic. Why? Because the land clues are at the bottom and the water clues are at the top. It tells us that millions of years ago this place was dry land, but over time it became covered by the ocean.